Hey guys, I'm Lee Taylor. That's the brand new Genesis G80, and this is a Right Lane review. If I say saloon, outside of a Western movie, what most people think of is luxury. A long bonnet, a short rear, a staggered stance, a classic and iconic sedan shape come to mind. But what if I said this brand is only about 7 years old? So in 2015, when Genesis debuted as its own luxury brand, we had quite a few naysayers, myself included. And this G80 being the second generation of their full-size premium sedan, they're competing against the BMW 5 Series, the Mercedes E-Class, and Audi's A6. That means Genesis needs to bring its A game. It's done it before, and I think it's done it again. Around town, the Genesis is quite large. I mean, it is a full-size luxury sedan, and it actually doesn't drive like a full-size luxury sedan. It feels a bit more placeable. It doesn't feel quite as a barge-like as some of the other big luxury sedans out there, and it's easy to place. You do have great surround view camera and park sensors all the way around, even in the base model. As standard on all the Genesis models, you also have these really awesome blind spot cameras. So when you turn your indicator on, it will actually show you the corner of the car that you can't see over your shoulder, and it's great because you can see other vehicles, cyclists, anything of that nature that might be there, and actually flash and alert at you if there is something there. It also tells you in the heads-up display if there's a car in your blind spot, which is also super helpful when you're trying to merge or get in and out of traffic or moving around the freeway. It's a quite nice system. And with this car, you get all the great safety tech that you would expect in a premium car as standard. As standard. Including, but not limited to, adaptive cruise control with lane keeping assist, forward collision warning, lane keeping assist, lane centering, semi-autonomous cruise. All the things you would expect out of a luxury car are standard on a G80. There's no denying if you drive this car back to back with a German equivalent at price point that this is not the better car. Better tech? Well, good tech, great driving experience, comfortable, incredibly comfortable, and has a presence like nothing else. You see 5 Series, E-Classes, X5s, all the normal Germans out on the road all the time. As soon as you roll up in one of these, people stare. So if you want to pose, buy one of these. I'm giving them high praise because they're that good. They just are. Full stop. Germans better watch out, because in the next 5 years, you're gonna have a Korean counterpart who's ready to take you down for 20 grand less. That's a lot. So dynamically, the G80 is actually quite a good package. I mean, you do get this predictive suspension system, so they call it predictive ES. Or ECS, so electronically controlled suspension, and it looks ahead with the radar unit as well as some cameras to see what might be coming, so it tries to smooth out the bumps, and it works in sport and in comfort mode, so it tries to make the suspension as compliant as possible. Now sometimes this means the car is a little bit lane yacht, sometimes it means it's a little bit not quite yacht. And you do have several different modes, so you have comfort, which is its default setting, sport, eco, and custom. And eco, if you want to save some fuel, works and actually allows the car to coast or decouple the transmission from the engine at times. This car actually doesn't have a start-start system. And then you also have, with custom, you can adjust the steering and the throttle transmission settings. I generally run around in custom because I like the responsiveness of the sport mode for the throttle and the transmission, and then leave the steering in comfort because that seems to be the most authentic feeling for this particular car. Now this isn't as buttoned down or as sharp as like an M Sport suspension on a BMW, but I reckon it's just as capable, mostly due to some really sticky Michelin Pilot Sport tires stuck underneath, which are a fantastic addition. So how's life in the driver's seat of the Genesis G80? Well, it's a beautiful place to be, really. I really do like Genesis' general design and the layout of their interiors. As far as materials and design go, it's quite good. In front of you is a funky looking steering wheel. It's not my favorite. It kind of reminds me of a crab in the wrong way, but at least the buttons and everything are where it's supposed to be, and you have some responsive paddles here. Directly in front is a half digital dash with an analog speedo, and the digital dash also shows you your blind spot monitor as well as your blind spot camera whenever you turn the indicators on. A nice big heads-up display for most anything else you'll need while you're going down the road. A nice big infotainment unit which is actually skewed towards you properly this time. A center console with a mix of haptic and physical buttons, which is a very nice touch on a car like this. Your center console controls include your gear selector as well as your infotainment unit, and while the infotainment unit can be a bit clunky, it's not my favorite. I reckon Genesis will have to work out the kinks as they figure it out. But it is attached to a Lexicon sound system, which sounds fantastic in this car. Around you have plenty of great touch points. Everything feels nice. The wood's really lovely. This is called eucalyptus, which is a nice touch for the Australian market. Plenty of cubbies, including a wireless charger and tons of space for everything else. Heated and cooled seats. Yeah, it's a beautiful place to be. Oh, and the sunroof has got this really cool function when you open it, nice and big. It kind of parts the Red Sea when you do it. Pretty neat. So how's life in the back of the G80? Well, it's plenty of space back here. It's a fantastic executive saloon. I mean, I have tons of legroom, plenty of headroom, and it's all creature comforts. Lovely seats in this nice beige leather. A nice big center console armrest, which gives me cup holders as well as a massive cubby and some USB points just in case I want to charge my devices. This car also has ISOFIX standard seats, which allows you to put the baby in the back if you so dare with white seats. You also get the obligatory anti-peasant sunshade, just to make sure you know you're in a premium saloon. So how's the boot on the G80? Well, to start, you always get an automatic tailgate, so you don't have to worry about using your hands. You do have plenty of room back here, probably enough room for a couple of nice sized bags to take to the airport or on a cross-country trip. And you also have a little bit of space on either side, some cubbies and some small amounts of space around the spare tire, which is full size. So just so you know, the seats don't fold down, just in case you're wondering. So what's the tops, bottoms, and final verdict on the brand new Genesis G80? Well, this car doesn't have that many bottoms for the sheer fact that it's very, very good. There are a couple of things, being that Genesis is a fairly new luxury brand, so it's still got some teething issues, particularly around the infotainment and the way it works. The suspension in sport mode isn't quite as buttoned down as I would like when you compare it to like the 5 Series or the E-Class, but it does okay. And these wheels aren't my favorite, though you can get a different wheel in the higher spec, more powerful 3.3 turbo model. So on top, there's a lot to love with the G80. It's a fantastic and beautiful car to look at. It feels great in the hands, it drives beautifully. And when you think about all the tech that gets shoved into this car as a base model, being 10 to 20 grand cheaper than its competitors, it's a hell of a deal. So what's my final verdict on the brand new Genesis G80? Well, this is a fantastic package. It's a beautiful car, it drives really well, and Mercedes, Audi, and BMW really should take note, because if this is where Genesis is headed, I'm here for it. So the question remains, can Genesis keep, oh, hello.